So I'm here at 29 First Ave, Welland. The first thing we got to do is trim some of the branches back on this tree. It's rubbing on the house, which is obviously not a good sign. And then there's some massive branches up on the roof that need to be removed, and the eaves troughs need to be cleaned out. So that's number one. Number two, I'd like this deck to have the structure remain, but I'd like it to be the old rotten boards to be removed and just new pressure treated deck boards put in their place. I don't think we need any fancy railings or anything, just the way it is fine. I'd also like this rusty metal to be painted so it looks fresh. Same with that. And I'd like that to be painted so it's not so ugly. And these eaves troughs all need to be either, I think they can be power washed or wiped down with a sponge in a bucket. But either way, it's going to bring up the curb appeal so much, and it looks so worn out and tired. Now the landscaping is going to be addressed as a separate issue. But this deck here, I think the wood and everything is in much better shape than the little one up front. It really just needs a screw here and there just to stabilize a few wobbly pieces. But for the most part, it's pretty solid. And it just needs a fresh paint job on the bottom, there, here, and this whole thing. I think we could just paint it in fresh white with like an oil paint or something that's really durable and it's going to hold up to time. And we throw these in the garbage, these rugs and towels. There's also some garbage laying around, like this ugly thing. I want it trashed, brought to the dump. There's probably a bunch of stuff in that garage there that needs to be brought to the dump. You can see on the window there's some repair needing on the back. We'll go check out the front in a few minutes. Now coming around to the back, I think the deck on the back looks great. But you can see there's just some weird little wires and things hanging along there. I want all that stuff gone. Make sure these light bulbs work. Get everything power washed and clean. Just so again it looks fresh, similar to the front of the house. Also on our property line there's a huge pile of junk, wood and stuff, patio stones. That's all got to go to the dump. And you can see back there's an old rusty fireplace. That's got to go too. Pretty much anything. This blue thing, garbage can, the gloves, old plastic horse, any stuff, get it to the dump. There's stuff in the house too, furniture, things like that. It's all got to go. Now, upon entry to the house, it's actually not in really bad shape. We just have to get rid of all these little stickers. There's a bunch of those throughout the house. I want to dap all the lines on the trim, on the ceilings, in this thing too. Anywhere where there's gaps or dark lines as a result of gaps, I want those caulked. And then I want it all painted fresh, flat white. I want all the baseboards to have dap and caulking put on them so it's fresh with a fresh coat of paint. And I want all of the walls to have a fresh coat of paint as well, okay? And of course, any holes or anything to be addressed. These things can just be removed altogether. I'd like a little box built around this thing to box it in, and drywalled, sanded, painted to match so it looks good. These floors here need to be protected because they're nice and they're going to stay. Same goes with the floors up in this room over here. Now this room, same thing. It just needs caulking, painting on the ceilings, the walls and trim. All the ceilings need a fresh coat of flat white. And the walls need an eggshell and a nice paint color. Okay. Any of the registers, we want to keep them if possible. If not, we might need one or two. Most of them seem like they're all right. If it's, like this one looks okay because it matches the floor, it looks fine. This light fixture is pretty cool. So I want to keep that. I like that a lot. I just want to make sure all the light bulbs in the house are warm. I don't really care if they're LED or not because the tenant's going to pay for the utilities. I just don't want any cold lights. So even that fixture is fine. In here though, the appliances look good. You've got a dishwasher, gas stove, and a nice big fridge. The cabinets look fine. I'm just not a fan of that backsplash. I'd like to remove that, put a skim coat of mud on there, paint it, or put in a new tile backsplash. So we're just going to have on the backsplash issue a conversation with the landlord to see how much she wants to invest in that part of it. Okay. Also, these pieces of wood that extend beyond the cabinets, I'd like those to be cut short, remove those so I don't see them. Drywall repair, clean it up, and then fresh paint. Any of these cabinet doors that are a little goofy and crooked, they need to be adjusted. All right. And we need to test the appliances, make sure they're all working, but that's a separate thing. In here, if it's rotted wood, we need a new piece of wood just as a base, just to solid it up. If it is solid and just rotten, maybe just a new layer of this wallpapery plastic stuff. Now on the floor in here, I want to have a brand new vinyl, the vinyl that we commonly use in our houses. I'd like to scratch coat over top of these ugly blue tiles and put the vinyl in here as well. And we can just paint this blue piece here white to match the trim. And I think the trim should carry around this corner so it's not just blind. Same with that, so it looks more finished. The knobs and handles everywhere seem fine. Even the plugs are fine. Just replace the fascia with new stuff so it all matches and is white. But I don't care if it's not decor, it's okay. Also, I want the same nice vinyl floor in here. You can go right on top of this old stuff. And the toilet is good. The blinds in here are good. Even the light fixtures in here are good. We just gotta make sure that the light bulbs are proper. The mirror in here is nice. The vanity sucks, so I'd like to replace it with one of those cheap Home Depot ones and a nicer looking faucet that's plain white. All right. In here, I want this carpet removed, and if we have any scrap vinyl left over, we can put it in here. And then we'll trim this in and make it look more finished. Okay. In this room, these floors are nice. We're keeping them. I already said that. This curtain rod here is nice, so that one can stay. Leave that one. But you can see there's a little wire running along here with pins on it. That's got to go. I'm not really sure what that is. And in the sink there, you can see there's a little shelf for the recycle. That can stay as well. The little hook there should just be painted white. I think that light fixture there needs to be replaced with something that is more suiting for a wall fixture, or because it's really just going to be shining in your face. But I am noticing that there's no lighting in here. So maybe we should get an electrician to put some pot lights in here because there's no lights. And this should be a light that's going to shine down on the sink, not in your face. You can imagine if those were on, that's what would be happening. So going up the stairs, I think what we should do is just put a fresh carpet right over top of this old stuff. Obviously all this will be freshly painted white, handrail freshly painted, all that stuff, the ceiling, the walls, the lights. That gold one has to be replaced with a new flush mount that looks similar to something like that. But I think a nice fresh carpet running up these stairs would be good. And then we can just carry that fresh carpet right through the second floor. Since the floors are a little wonky, we can either go right on top of this laminate, or we can rip the laminate out and put the carpet in. Whatever the carpet company says. If they say we can go on top, we'll go right on top. And I'd like it to go in both of those bedrooms, this hallway and in here. Okay. I want to remove that. It's ugly. And I want to remove that. It's ugly. I don't mind having the closet rods. I just think that they should be mounted to something much more attractive than that. So keep the closet rods, but just devise a better mounting setup there instead of that. This obviously has to go to the dump. The trim in here needs to all be done. If we're going to recarpet up here, basically we're just going to put new baseboards in the entire second floor. The contractor pack from Home Depot will do just fine. We'll caulk it and paint it with the new carpets. It'll look great. Any upside down plugs, I want them flipped over. And anything crooked, I want it straightened out. Anything with paint on it, I want it replaced. You can see there's a few of those. The light fixture is okay in here. Just got to check on the lights. And that thing needs to go up there. Again though, the knobs are okay, the doors are fine. Just have some holes in the walls, a little bit of drywall repair. Here on the ceiling, there's some cracks. Okay, again, get rid of that thing, it's ugly. Just a fresh coat of paint in this room. I think it would be nice to keep this little ledge here white. Okay, this thing, we'll keep it white, but we'll do color here, here, and all the way around. And then we'll just have the trim paint on the baseboards and on this ledge. All of the doors also need a fresh coat of trim paint as well. Now the last thing is, oh yeah, get rid of that. That one's got to go. The last room in here is this bathroom. I was thinking let's put a skim coat because the grout's really gross and dirty looking. Let's put a skim coat of scratch coat on the floor, put a new vinyl right on top, and we'll just buy a cheap toilet, throw it in there. Or even this toilet, it's not bad. You know what? We can keep this toilet. We'll just put it back in place. If it still works good, great. That would be awesome. And clean that, make sure it's clean. I say we put just a fresh flush mount light on there that's not gold, and a silver light that looks exactly like that but not gold, but that is silver, again with the warm light bulbs. The mirror is good. This vanity, I think we should paint it white if we can fix this track. If it's not fixable, then we should just replace it with a new vanity. So that'll have to be in the extras column. If we can repair that track, we'll paint it white and just put a new countertop with a really cheap sink and a cheap faucet in there. And then it'll look beautiful. If not, then maybe we just replace the vanity with a cheap one that's the same size that'll fit right there perfectly. This thing's garbage. This is nice. That can obviously stay. And that's good. The shower's nice. Mixing valves are fine. The tub surround's good. Shower rod's good. Fresh coat of paint on the ceiling, walls, and trim in here as well. Okay, I'm going to maybe spray paint that and put it back on the wall, or just paint it white or wall color or whatever. And then I'd like silicone caulking all the way around on the base once the new vinyl is in, because it's a small bathroom and there's going to get water in the gaps under the toilet. So I want around the toilet caulked as well. And then we'll obviously need a new transition strip right there. These black blinds on this window in the living room, I gotta go. They're ugly. Don't lose any of these little wooden posts that fit in the doors. We're gonna keep those. Now the basement smells horribly. I think there's a lot of mold and stuff down there because it leaks like a sieve. The water is just soaked. Like, it's not flooding, but it's just, the basement is just wet. And the reason it smells so bad is because there's all this wood and insulation and stuff that does not belong in this basement unless you want to spend 20 grand on waterproofing this basement, which we don't need to do. So the basement needs to be gutted to the concrete walls. Literally, there can't be any wood down here or insulation or wood paneling that is not structural. It's got to go because it reeks, and we need a dehumidifier and a fan or something circulating air down in that basement because it's raunchy. We should probably have a handrail or something as well because this is probably pretty unsafe. You know, maybe something, it looks like they used to have one, you know, something going like this. It doesn't need to look pretty. It's an unfinished basement. That's what it's going to be for storage. It does not matter. It's not going to add or reduce any value, but we do need to get rid of that smell. So it needs to be gutted, and that's it for there in the basement. Any of these knobs that are loose need to be tightened up. This is in the kitchen again. You can tell the kitchen was painted, but it was done really poorly. See that? So I think the kitchen cabinets are okay. We just need to put a fresh coat of white paint on here in a semi-gloss to match the trim and the door paint. And just, you know, on the insides and the outsides on all of them. And you know, straighten out the doors that are a little crooked. That's important. We got to replace that ugly plug up there. Maybe hide it if we can. Find out what it's powering. Maybe it's a light. I don't know. But another thing too is this looks really silly because this countertop is supposed to go underneath of this appliance. This appliance is designed to be buried into the counter. So either A, we replace the countertop altogether with something that's nicer and wraps around the appliance like it's supposed to, so you don't have that or this. Or B, we just get rid of that, sell it on Kijiji or something, and then just buy a new gas stove that is cheap and white that properly fits in there. I think that's probably the best option in my opinion. Just heading down to the garage. I can already see that the garage door here is a disaster. It's an interior door that's not supposed to be outside, and it's obviously curling. So I think we should get a new pre-hung exterior rated door on here, and we can just rip this door jamb out that's all rotted and just put a new door in there all together. Just a plain white exterior door, pre-hung. Yeah, I mean, the garage door looks fine. The inside of the garage looks okay. We just got to get rid of all this junk. We got to clean it out, bring everything to the dump that's sitting around. The garage has some paint issues, so I mean, as an extras item, we can either paint this garage or we can get some pricing on new siding. There's moss growing on the shingles, but that's not a big deal. At least it isn't for now, in my opinion. Some more garbage here we got to get rid of. We got to get rid of all these sticks that are piled up on the side of the yard. And this just needs to be washed, that's all. But you see this needs to be recapped with some vinyl capping, because if we repaint this, you can't paint it. Like, it's totally rotten. So we need some new vinyl capping put around that as well. That should probably be in the extras column along with the electrical work as well. And I noticed at the road, the mailbox is in a weird location. It should probably be facing the road. And there's some junk there that needs to go to the dump. And even if we didn't want to move the mailbox, it's clearly broken and needs to be fixed. But I think it needs to be moved a little bit more over and then facing properly. Okay? And I think that should do it for now. I want to make sure we got working lights in here and in that little lamp post as well. And any exterior lights need working light bulbs in them. I think getting pot lights in the kitchen should be no problem, because there's just nothing above it. So if we put 4 pot lights in there, we'll be good. And that's it.